So then, welcome to my home. This is my little film on my new tank. So new, relatively speaking. Only had it just over a year. This is the third tank that I've had in the last 20 years. I think, like most people, I started with a relatively small tank thinking that was the way forward. Had a little hexagonal corner unit and held about 10 gallons, but it was a pig to keep clean, and soon progressed from there to a standard little 2-foot tank straight off the shelf, and that did me very well. In fact, I've taken that down to the business unit and we keep a small selection of tetras down there. But this one I had purpose built. It's a 52-inch tank, or 132 centimetres in length, external for the glass, and then it's 2 foot square or 60 centimetres square. Holds around 450 litres, and purposely added increased the height of the hood by 50%, and that allows me to put inside an EIMS twin auto feeder. As I work in the offshore business, that keeps me running for a minimum of 2 weeks and allows the fish to thrive really without me. The tank in the corner, or the plants in the corner, are all silk. I don't run any real plants in there. That cuts down mainly on the snails, but primarily, I suppose, really because being away for 2 weeks, keeping fish is okay, but keeping plants alive, as anybody knows, can be a bit of a pain, especially as this tank is absolutely full of barbs. And you add barbs and plants together, and I believe the barbs are going to win every time. Now, those 3 tinfoils there, they're probably pushing 3/4 of a kilo a piece. Good sized fish, probably about 25 centimetres in size, and account for probably about 30% of the bio loading in there. And just below them is a big synodontis. I've had him now for probably about 5 to 6 years. He was only about 4 centimetres when I first picked him up. Cost me about £1.50. Absolutely fantastic, wonderful fish, and I always think he looks like he swallowed a television aerial. Let's see if we can get a close-up of the front end of him. See what I mean? Naturally enough, all the denizens then come right in the way, but you can see all those barbules hanging out the front end. Absolute character of the tank, and when he gets his sail up, he's absolutely gorgeous. Now, as I say, predominantly we're looking here at a barb tank. We've got quite a lot of tiger barbs, greens, common tigers. There's a couple of albinos in there, and they tend to hang around quite a lot during the course of the day in the plants, but then this time of night, now we're looking probably around about 3 in the afternoon, 4 o'clock, they will all come out and they patrol the front of the glass, and the last thing they do before lights out. There are also probably some 6 or 7 pentazonas in the back there. Very rare to see them. They tend to live in underneath the root in the corner, hardly ever venturing out. Certainly when I'm running the amount of light that I have on today, really just for this video. I normally just sit with a red tinted T8 light on, and that will allow the clown loaches, of which there are several in that tank, to be out pretty much all day. It's not uncommon for me to see it to come in through the room at about 10-11 o'clock in the morning to find the clowns out at the front of the glass, working the glass, picking off the last few bits out of the auto feeder. Now in that auto feeder, as I was saying, it's a twin chamber. I tend to run a pellet for the bottom feeders if they can get past these big tinfoils, and then on the top I tend to run Tetra crisps. I found that they, certainly if you're working through a feeder, thrive a lot better than flake. If you're away for two weeks at a time, the flake can get damp, and rather than trying to mess about with air and keeping it fluffed, I've decided to go for a twin auto feeder and change it up to crisps, and they tend to be working well. Top feeders thriving on those. Obviously when I'm home I'll add a little bit of extra in. I don't know whether you can actually see it, but in this artificial tree stump down here there's a screw cumber in there that those 2 roses have just gone in front of. There it is in the background. I'll tend to go through maybe a whole cucumber in a week in there. I used to just put 2.5–3 inch in unpeeled, but I've started to peel it a bit more. It goes a lot faster. It also has a less detritus going up the pumps. So right in the middle there, big piece of natural wood. I've tried to keep it as natural as possible. I'm not one for divers and treasure chests and sunken helicopters, but whatever works in your tank at the end of the day. The fish don't seem to know that it's a helicopter, do they? At the end of the day, it's just providing cover. But in the background I've got the largest artificial root that I could purchase. That gives a lot of root cover around the bottom, and there's a natural hole in the top that goes right the way through, and the largest of the clown loaches lives in there. So she's got a nice little house, and the rest of them just getting under that wood. There's 2 or 3 living under there at the moment. Provides a food supply for the plecos, and it also supplies natural cover as well. So I've tried to keep as natural as possible. A few pebbles at the front. I've started to run half the pebbles in the tank, and then half I put in a separate tank, my Tetra tank that I have down at the office, and they've got no algae eaters in that tank, so the algae thrives on the pebbles. I bring that back here and then swap them out. That gives a natural food supply for the plex, and it also means you get a chance to see the plecos feeding at the front. You know they're getting food, and they seem to survive fairly well. So let's have a look underneath, just have a quick glance and see what we've got underneath. I'll try not to spook the fish with the light, but we'll need it on just to see what we can see. Okay, so going to my primary filter. This is an old pond solution, 2,000 litres an hour. It's a great piece of kit. You're not going to fall off with that at 65 quid a chuck. There's 4 tiers of trays in there, and I use that with half of their natural materials in there, and I also put EIM's bio balls in 2 of the trays. I just run 2 filters. It should have had 4 filter flosses, and they're just the thin standard ones. You don't do the coarse blue as you would get in quite a lot of the other filters. They're just the thin floss. So I run one of those in on top of the 2 bags of noodles that they provide at the bottom. That polishes up. Then I run 2 trays of bio balls, and the top one I run in with the plastic polishing balls that they provided, and then I put in their Purigen in a bag, and that really does keep the water clean. Now that's doing 2,000 litres an hour. Obviously that's empty volume, that's not full volume, but it really is a good piece of kit. And you combine that then with the one on this side, which is an EIM's Pro 2 with a thermostat in the bottom. That's the only thermostat you may have noticed when you were looking at the tank. There's no thermostat in the tank. My whole heating runs through this filter. 3 tiers, again mechanical filtration with the first one with the coarse blue polishing filter, because these are bottom to top filters. 2 lots of bio media in there, and a final floss filter at the top coming back in. Now quite a lot of people talk about these as being the best filters that you could probably buy, and to be fair, I've never had a problem with them, and I've run a variety of EIM's filters now for in excess of 15 years. So that's my first offering. I hope you enjoy. Thank you.